Holland America's Koningsdam was turned away in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico because of COVID spread on board the ship. We'll look at all the details of what went down. And Holland America line was not the only brand on the Christmas naughty list, because the Carnival Freedom was also turned away from 2 stops in the Caribbean, and passengers on board have taken to social media to say, you know what, we weren't compensated quite enough. Let's find out what happened on Carnival Freedom. Plus, we'll take a look at a news article coming out from NPR that's probably going to get me in trouble with at least a few of my viewers, so get your commenting fingers ready. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. Well, it's December 26th, one day after the Christmas holiday, so that means happy Boxing Day up to my Canadian friends, happy Kwanzaa if that's what you're celebrating, and we're just a few days away from 2022. Do you have a New Year's cruise planned? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Now, there's some important stories that we're going to focus on in today's Midships episode, but I want to start out by thanking each and every one of you for being a valued subscriber to the Midships channel. We just turned another major milestone. We've hit 7,000 subscribers thus far in 2021 alone. And I have a new goal that I'm going to set, and it's a pretty lofty one. I would like to hit 10,000 subscribers by the time my birthday rolls around in the middle of March. Do you think we can do it? Why don't you give me a wonderful late Christmas present and help me reach this goal of 10,000 subscribers by the middle of March? Well, let's get into the cruise news. And in the intro, I teased that I'd probably make at least a few of you upset by reading a story coming out of NPR. And I'm going to point out why I think when major news outlets do what NPR did in this story, it really does a disservice to cruising, and it doesn't give readers the full picture that they need to be able to make their own decisions about if it's safe to cruise. So from NPR, posted in Coronavirus Updates, written by the Associated Press, COVID-19 outbreak hits 3 cruise ships as Florida breaks a record for new cases. Let's put a pin in that second spot here. A COVID-19 outbreak took place on a South Florida-based cruise ship for the 3rd time this week, as the number of coronavirus cases in Florida has hit its highest level since the start of the pandemic. An undisclosed number of passengers and crew aboard the Carnival Freedom caught the virus, so the ship was denied entry to 2 ports in the Caribbean. It was the 3rd outbreak this week affecting cruise ships operated by Carnival and Royal Caribbean departing from South Florida. Meanwhile, Florida has had 31,758 new COVID cases on Friday, breaking a record for the most cases in a single day since the start of the pandemic in March of 2020, according to data from the US CDC. The new record is driven by the spread of the new Omicron variant throughout the Sunshine State. And this is where I'm going to make some of you mad, because NPR is only giving you a partial truth, and this is what major media outlets do on both sides of the aisle because it drives their own narrative. Now let's look beyond just the state of Florida, because as you well know, cruisers aren't just coming from the state of Florida. And we're going to take a look at some data coming out from the New York Times, state by state, about new cases of coronavirus. And this is today's data, December 26th. And you can see that Washington, D.C. is leading the nation in new cases with a 246% rise in cases compared to last winter's peak. Now, when you look at Florida, Florida only has 110% more cases compared to this time last winter. So it's a little bit disingenuous to single out only Florida in this case. And I want to give you some data actually coming out of Canada. This is from CTV News, and this is a ranking of all of the places in the US that have the most new spread going on. And you can see, you got to go down. Barely in the top 10 is Florida's new cases. And when you look up here at the very top, Washington, D.C., New Jersey, New York, they're not even on the graph anymore. They have so many new cases. So this is where I start getting a little bit frustrated with reporting that singles out the state of Florida. Yes, the cruise capital of the world is in the state of Florida, but it's important to remember that people from all over the country and all over the world are coming to cruise out of Florida ports. So it's important that we look at more than just this micro level of the state of Florida. And it's important to remember here, if I did just roast your favorite news media outlet, it's not my intention to single out NPR, as pretty much every mainstream media outlet does this type of reporting from time to time, and it's getting more and more frequent in my opinion. So that's my opinion on this story coming out of NPR. Go ahead and leave yours down in the comments below, and don't forget to remember that I was respectful when I shared mine, so I expect you to be respectful as well. Otherwise, you're gonna get blocked so darn fast. Well, since ships being turned away from foreign ports seems to be on the top of everybody's mind, let's go ahead and focus down on two of them that happened the most recently. That's going to be the Holland America line ship, as well as the Carnival Freedom cruise ship. We're going to start with Holland America because I only have one story referencing that particular incident down in Puerto Vallarta. So let's go ahead and hop in now with NBCnews.com. By Dennis Romero, Holland America cruise skips Mexican stop after positive COVID tests. A Holland America line cruise ship was on its way back to port Saturday after Mexican health officials would not allow guests to disembark in Puerto Vallarta following positive COVID-19 tests aboard. The health department in Mexico said that 21 crew members aboard the ship had tested positive for COVID upon arrival on Thursday in Puerto Vallarta. It said passengers' potential exposure means they would not be permitted to disembark. And we have a statement coming from Holland America Line that I'm going to read you part of. Through onboard testing, we've confirmed that a small number of fully vaccinated crew aboard Koningsdam tested positive for COVID-19. All are showing mild or no symptoms and are currently in isolation. Close contacts have been quarantined out of an abundance of caution. The cruise line said the ship left Puerto Vallarta following a last-minute notification from authorities that guests would not be allowed to go ashore. The ship was expected to return to San Diego on Sunday, the cruise line said. It's unclear how local health officials will handle the cases after the ship returns. The county health department did not immediately respond to requests for commentary. The Port of San Diego website does not have a protocol information listed for travelers in a situation like this. And like I mentioned earlier, Holland America Line is not the only operator that's been turned away from ports in just the last handful of days because of COVID cases spreading on board their ships. So we're going to follow up on the story of the Carnival Freedom that's found itself in a similar situation, only this one's a little bit saucier. Hang on a second, before we get into the next story, this is Ultra Comfy Corey coming at you to remind you that Midships is on Instagram. If you'd like to follow our Instagram account, we post new stories every single day, wonderful polls, and we'd like to see what's going on in your cruise life. So just follow us at Midships Cruise on Instagram. Also, I'd like to remind you that in the description box below this video, there are links to all the articles referenced in today's episode. Also, at the very top, there are Amazon affiliate links to some cruise swag that I recommend you take with you on your next cruise. Thanks so much for checking out the links. Now back to the article. From Local10News.com by reporter Parker Branton and digital journalist Andrea Torres. Carnival Freedom docks at Port Miami after coronavirus cases prevent stops at Bonaire and Aruba. The Carnival Freedom returned to Miami on Sunday after a group of passengers tested positive for the coronavirus, prompting changes to the cruise's schedule. The cruise ship departed Miami on December 18th after delays during the stop in Curacao on December 21st. The scheduled stops on December 22nd in Bonaire and December 23rd in Aruba were subsequently canceled. On December 24th, the cruise liner stopped in the Dominican Republic. Ashley Peterson used Twitter to vent about her experience on board the ship. Ashley wrote, "People have spent thousands of dollars and picked this cruise for the ports. Now, on an 8-day cruise, we will only have gone to one place on a delayed schedule." Passengers received an apology letter from the cruise's captain, gifting them with $100 onboard credit per room and a free game of bingo. The rapid spread of the Omicron variant impacts how destinations are responding to even a small number of cases. Another passenger named Jim said no one disclosed how many people tested positive for the virus, and there were plenty of rumors going around. And now we're going to get into the juicier part of this story from Carnival Freedom. This is going to be from a MarketWatch article. And basically this article is following the story of how some of the passengers on board Carnival Freedom think $100 per cabin is nowhere near enough compensation for the troubles they had with not being able to go to 2 cruise ports. From MarketWatch.com by Quentin Fortel. They think $100 per room is enough compensation? Caribbean Christmas cruise denied entry by ports due to COVID outbreak. Take a cruise during a pandemic at your peril. Passengers aboard Florida-based Carnival Freedom are crying foul over their curtailed Christmas cruise schedule due to an undisclosed number of passengers testing positive for COVID on their cruise. One Carnival Freedom passenger, Ashley Peterson, shared a letter from the captain offering a $100 gift voucher, apologizing for cutting off 2 of 3 stops and assuring passengers that all protocols were being followed to keep them safe. Ashley was quoted as saying, "People have spent thousands of dollars, blah, blah, blah." We read this in the last article. But not everyone expressed sympathy for Carnival Freedom passengers. One man replied, "You elected to take a cruise during a pandemic. Even vaccinated people are coming down with coronavirus, which is highly contagious. Sorry, not sorry." And sorry, not sorry indeed. Because if you are booked on a cruise, you're at the mercy of the cruise line and the ports as to whether or not you're actually going to make it on your port stops. The cruise line has no obligations per your cruise contract to make stops in all of the ports that you originally booked on. Now, with that said, it's important to remember that if you do miss a port stop, the cruise line does in fact owe you a refund, at least on your port fees and expenses that you prepaid for your cruise. So with that knowledge in mind, what do you think? Did Carnival owe these cruise passengers anything for not being allowed to make port of calls into cruise ports? Go ahead and comment below. I'm curious to see what your take is on the matter. If you made it this far into today's episode, why haven't you subscribed to the channel yet? I put out new content almost every single day to help you make a better, more informed decision about your next cruise. While you're down there, leave a huge thumbs up if you wish you could be on a cruise ship right now. Thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. And until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the Midships.